It was September the 7th, 2007. It was the last operation of their tour. They went out at 10 o'clock at night. Sam was the point man that night. They went in a formation. As soon as they got out there, one lad got shot in the thigh and went down on the floor. Sam actually got shot in the head, and they reckon it was quite fierce and everything. Another lad went further on and he got killed. Sam and Luke and Sergeant Botha, they were all lost on battlefield, and it went back and they said it was pitch black and they couldn't find them anywhere. So it was several hours before they actually found them. They rescued them off the battlefield, and I got told that Sam's brain was hanging out and they had to shove it back in and carry on battling. His surgeon did tell me that it was like there quite a few hours and that he wasn't going to survive, but he has. He's doing really well. But the battle, they said, was very fierce, and they was throwing fireworks at them. This is the Taliban. They kept just shooting at them all the time. And Luke was down on the floor and he'd been shot in the thigh, like I said, but he kept firing at the Taliban because they were still coming towards him. And then he got shot again in the back. They still kept coming towards them and he shot them dead, and that was before they got rescued. So they was coming for them, you know. So I can't imagine what it was like. And really, tell you the truth, I have blanked that out a lot because I was really frightened that I wouldn't ever get him back. A major come to my work and told me in my office, and this was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the Saturday morning, and he said, "Are you Mrs. Cooper?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Last night at 2200 hours, your son Sam was caught in a Taliban ambush, and I'm afraid that he's critically injured." And I said, "Tell me what happened." And he said he'd been shot, and I asked him where he'd been shot, and he said in the head. Well, as you can gather, then I just couldn't function. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't figure out, but I had to wait till the next day, till they flew him back from Afghan, and I had to go to Birmingham, Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and we was there when the plane touched down, and he got a police escort to the hospital. But when she took me into that room and she says to me, "I have to tell you now, I don't think there's no chance that he'd survive." Well, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't want to survive if he wasn't going to. I got to see him for about 2 minutes before she took him into surgery. She came back to me 11 hours later and said that they couldn't remove the bullet. The bullet is still in there.
Even now?
But yeah, even now. She said to me, "But he's better off in there than out. And it's up to him now." And 5 weeks, he was in and out of life support. They had to keep bagging him all the time, bringing him round, and then they take him off life support and he couldn't survive, so he had to go back under. I mean, we went through 5 weeks of hell. And then when he woke up that time, and I just looked at him and I said, "Do you know who I am?" And he stroked my hair, and I knew he knew who I was. I just said, "You know who I am, don't you, Sam?" And he just nodded to me. But like I say, he couldn't speak, and he hasn't been able to speak for quite a few things. He's just started saying quite a few words, and he can say a few sentences. He lost the use of his right hand side of his body, but he can walk. His arm's not very good, but he's getting back to normal. His brain injury isn't as bad as what they thought he was going to be, because they told me he was going to be a cabbage, and he's not. He's perfectly okay.
There must be so many times during this that you've felt incredibly proud.
No, I do feel very proud of him. He's come a long way in the last 2 years, and he's got back to the way he is by himself.
Yeah.
So he's had a lot of rehab, a lot of help, and he has a lot of rehab at home, speech therapy. I've got an incredible family who do help. So, to tell you the truth, Sam's had everything. Yeah. And a lot of help off family, friends. He's just got back to himself. And he's just been to Tenerife with the lads and come back yesterday. He went on a stag week and he's enjoyed it immensely, and I'm so proud of him. But at the time, like I say, you just live from day to day. thinking, is he going to survive or isn't he? But yeah, I've been through my worst times. Now I'm looking for the future.
And Joan is with us as well. Joan, your lad Ben was shot at the same time as Sam. What does go through your mind when you first hear that news?
I was slightly different to Joe, because I was actually in Chesterfield Market when I heard my son had been involved in the ambush, same as Sam. Because originally I didn't think Ben was involved at all in the ambush. I knew Sam had been injured because Ben had rang home and said, would you ask how Sam is? And then I was walking through the market. I went to ask Joe's former partner how Sam was, and he said, well, your lad was there. He got shot. And I said, no, he wasn't. I would know. I was like, straight away, no. And he said, yes, he was. He was involved. Well, I just didn't know where I was. I just didn't know where I went. I was crying. I just didn't know where I was. I rang my brother in Devon. I was telling him, and I was crying. I rang my sister, and she came to fetch me because I just couldn't function at all. Ben had actually been shot in the head, but the helmet had actually saved Ben. It not actually penetrated. Apart from his hearing, it affected his hearing. He was sort of okay, thank goodness, but horrific.
But he did something remarkable. Yes,
he did his best to protect Sam under fire, and he said you could even hear the Taliban whispering. That's how close they were to them. He did his best to protect Sam, and he actually physically put Sam's brain back, because that's what he was trained to do. So he actually, because it was to save as much as Sam's brain as he physically could. Ben was 26 at the time. I mean, you know, as a young man to undertake such a thing, I think is extremely brave, and under fire as well. And he'd lost 2 of his men, because he was the corporal of that group at the time.
And the sergeant that Joanne mentioned in this, he was instrumental in saving Sam's life, and sadly he lost his life, didn't he?
Yes, recently.
Yes,
yeah.
How did that affect your boys?
Oh, badly. Sam was really upset, and we've been to the funeral. I went to Scotland with him because we wanted to pay our respects, and met his mum, and she was so proud of Sam. And like I say, my heart goes out to her, because really you don't know what to say to her. That she's lost her son and I've got mine back. But like I say, she's an incredible woman. She's a lovely person.
And it's been in the news this week that we're sending more troops, and it's in the news this morning that Barack Obama is sending 30,000 more troops. We're sending 500 to Afghanistan. What do you think about that?
We don't see the point, because what is the point? Because it's just a losing battle all the time. I just don't see the point.
We're extremely proud of our soldiers out there, extremely proud, and we're behind them, but we're just... Even now, we still worry about the soldiers out there. We're still mums, and we still worry, and our heart goes out to any parents out there whose sons and daughters are serving out there. You know, we still worry about them. We don't, you know, our boys are safe, but it doesn't stop us thinking about the other soldiers out there. And we're extremely proud of them, but we just wish we could see an end. A light at the end of the tunnel almost for us, that all right, we've lost but we've achieved something, but we just can't even see that at the moment.
Do you know what they're fighting for, your boys? Do you understand?
We don't really. No, we don't. They say they're out there to prevent terrorism, but you know, I'd rather our lads and lasses be here protecting us here than fighting out there. And it just makes me really cross that our soldiers are put out there. I mean, I know they join, and I know that it's their job, but my son joined for a career. He didn't join to go out there and be shot. He joined for a career, and that's what he wanted.
I'm just going to read a couple of texts, ladies, if I may, which have come through. Chaz said, Gareth, I worry when my 2 sons go downtown on a Saturday night, so my heart goes out to these 2 ladies. Best wishes to both of you from Chaz. And Mo has sent a text as well, saying you have 2 very brave and supportive mums in the studio. It's an honour, says Mo. When you hear things like that, how do you feel?
Extremely proud and really grateful for the support, because it means an awful lot to us. Sometimes that's all what gets you through, someone saying, how are you? Are you okay? And just that alone can sometimes help you get through the day, that someone actually cares enough just to ask if you're okay, and it really means a lot to us.
And I was going to say, what about now? Both of you, your lads now, how would you describe them?
Well, it's certainly affected Ben, and he doesn't talk very much. He won't share very much with you because he thinks, oh, Mum worries, so I'm not going to say much to her. And but it has affected him, especially losing his lads really affected him.
Thank you to both of you for coming in this morning.
Thank you. And just keep supporting our lads and lasses out there as much as you possibly can. They need it.